Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Quad-wrangle. I imagine you can already hear it that clearly I'm better compared to the last video, but not quite 100%. So once again, I'm just lining up my excuses for any clumsy solves up front before we take a look at Quad-wrangle. And I guess this is sort of what the thumbnail is trying to depict here, that there's four people that are having an argument, an altercation, or a wrangle, so to speak. Not a lot more to say about the picture, and frankly, I want to save my energy to a smooth solve. So let's just take a look at the puzzle and today's rule sets. So, Quad-wrangle by FullDeck and missing a few cards. I've been really enjoying some of the puzzles recently from them. You know, I didn't actually realize that they do difficult puzzles. I always thought they were purely introductory ones to the variants. So I just, who knows? Anyway, now that I found them on Logic Masters Germany, it's fantastic to be able to actually enjoy some of their fantastic puzzles. Rules-wise, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. If I can highlight one, that's a 3x3 box. Then we have quadruples, so digits in a quadruples circle must appear at least once in the four cells touching the circle. So, for example, and I'm picking up on the language of at least once. This circle here, which is saying 1 and 9, means that the digits 1 and 9 must appear at least once in the following four cells, the ones that are adjacent immediately to this quad circle. So that could mean that's a 9, that could mean that's a 1. But the emphasis here is on at least 1. That could be a double 1, for example, and that would be totally fine. And that could be a double 9, for example, and that would also be totally fine. So don't assume it's just the one digit. What you cannot have is none of them. It couldn't be 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, with no 1s and 9s. That would break this variant. Then we have little killers, so clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal. So if we take this, for example, and say that this is a 2, this cell here would have to be a 9 to make sure that these two cells along this diagonal, pointed out by this arrow, do add up to the 11, which is the sum that is shown there at the top. Excuse me. Excuse me. Obviously, there are more than just the 2, 9 as an example here to actually add up to 11. What you couldn't do is have two digits that don't add up to 11. They add up to 12 now, and clearly that's broken that little killer clue. So, that's all the rules we have for today. If you want to help break up this quadrangle, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Right, I was looking at this 11, I was thinking it's almost helpful, but not quite. But actually here, this 12 is definitely helpful. So this quad is saying these four neighboring cells must at least contain 1, 2, and 3. Now, these two that are on the diagonal, because I can't put 1, 2, and 3 in two cells, one of these digits has to be alongside this diagonal. And I can tell you it's the 3. Because 1 would mean I would have to partner up with an 11, impossible. 2 would be partnering up with 10, also impossible. So this can only be 3, 9. And therefore this is a 1, 2 pair. Kind of useful here. So for example, the 6 cannot be on the diagonal, otherwise you'd need another 6 to get to 12. So the 6 is definitely in here. Making this, let me think about this. Yes, because I can't put 6, 7, and 8 in these two cells. So one of these two cells is 7 or 8, which would be joined with 4 or 5 to add up to 12. 4 and 8 or 5 and 7. I imagine the 21 actually would help me resolve this. So I am going to take a look at these kind of second diagonals in these little killer clues. What about the 11? Now you see it's 3 cells. It's not as much pressure with 11. I could probably make this almost anything. I'll come back to the 11 and think it through. But I'm just looking after Not looking after, looking for easy wins. So the 13, for example, I could do 6 and 7. Or if it's an 8, it's 5, 8. So this is 6, 7, 5, 8. If it is 5, 8, that would be 6, 7. If this is 6, 7, there will be an 8 in here. Right, time to look at that second diagonal. So 22 in 3 cells. Now, I know from experience that requires a 9. If you do not include the 9, the maximum you can add up would be 6, 7, and 8, which only gets you to 21. So essentially, there is a 9 in here. Plus 2 digits that add up to 13. 22, take away the 9, you need 2 cells that add up to 13, similar to these two. And the options are still the same. It's either 6, 7 or 5, 8, because obviously now that we've used the 9, 4, 9 is out. So I think this clue is what's going to help us. It can't be 6, 7, because 6, 7 have to be in this quads cells. Can't have 6, 7 in here. I mean, any of these two cells, if they are 6, 7, I've broken it. So this is a 5, 9, 8 run. And therefore, this is the 6, 7 run. And that is a triplet of 5, 8, and 9. The 8 clearly cannot be away from this quadruple. So that has to be the 8. We've got our first digit. Only took us 3.5 minutes. I say only. Don't need the corner pencil marks anymore. Got our first digit. I don't know how useful it is to pencil mark these. I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but not very useful. Can we do, all right, let's just take a look at the 11 quickly. So, I mean, this is going to be 2, 9 or 3, 8. If it is an 8, it would have to be in here. If it is 2, 9, it could be either. And then definitely the 1 is this way. If the 1 was part of the 11 diagonal, it would have to be joined with a 10. That doesn't work. All right, 12 and 21. 21 surely would help. So I'm thinking it has to have a 9 again. And the reason I'm thinking that is 6, 7, and 8 are only available in these 4 cells. So if I'm not including a 9, the absolute maximum I could make this would be an 8 with 4 and 5. That would be 9 and 8. That's 17. That's way too small. So there's definitely a 9 in here, leaving a remainder of 12, which, you know, is the same thing again. Essentially, because 9 and 3 are no longer available, it's going to be 4, 8, or 5, 7. So if I pencil mark these, one thing it doesn't have is a 6, though. I'm pretty sure that means that's the 6. And this is, let's think about this, 9 with either 4, 8, or 5, 7. Because the 7 and 8, if you can't use them both on here, one of them has to be there. If you add them 7 and 8 in here, that'll be 15, not 12. So this has to be 7 and 8. And therefore there isn't another 7 and 8 outside it. And we're going to have a 9 with a 4 or 5, depending on whether this is 7 or 8. What it doesn't give us, though, is a resolution, which is a bit of a shame. So I am going to pause for a second just to clear my nose. Apologies for that. Right, and I'm back. And these 3 are 1, 2, 3. Okay. What can I do to resolve some of these things? I'm not entirely sure. 11 clue. So the thing that I'm noticing in box 9 is that I'm using a lot of the low digits in here. And one of them is in here. So let's say this is a 1. That would mean I need a 10 in here. And it's not 1, 9. It's not 2, 8. It's not 3, 7. It'll be 4, 6. And that 6 gives me an order with 6 up here, 4 down here. If it is a 2, then I need to add up to 9. Because the 2 would give me essentially 2 of the 11, leaving a remainder of 9. I would have to have, well, 1 8 is not available. The 1 would be here. 2 can't repeat. 3 also gone. So that would be 4, 5. And it could be in any order. Yeah, again, not too sure where to go next, other than maybe take a look at this 10 clue. Yeah. 10 in 3 cells always has to have either a 1 or a 2. And my options are, if it's not a 1, it has to be 2, 3, 5. So the 2 would be here, and these would be 3, 5, which we know is impossible because the 3 has to be part of this quadruple. So that can't be a 2. This has to be a 1. Oh, I've got pencil marks checking on. Let me switch that off. Then these 2 cells have to add up to 9. Given that's a 1, oh, hang on, the 2 can actually be here, can't it? Yeah, I could still have 2 with 9. The 3 is not here because that can't be an 8. That's a better set of pencil marking. Okay. These 2 cells have to add up to 9. It's not 1, 8. It's not 2, 7. It's not 3, 6. This has to be 4, 5. Not very helpful so far, is it? I mean, the 2 and 3 are not going to be here to add up to 11. So this is 2 or 3. It's either 2, 9 or 8, 3. And then the remainder of the 2, 3 will be in here. And this is 5, 6, 7? No, 6, 7, 8. Well, 6, 7 plus whichever one of the 8 and 9 haven't made it. Interesting. Am I meant to be looking for pairs or something to help me, or just... Normally what happens now is I miss some Sudoku. So how about I do some Sudoku? So 8s has to be in here. Obviously, I haven't really been looking that much around box 5, and I should be, because there's a lot of clues in here. 8s are not in there. I need to have an 8 as part of these 4 cells. This is the only place for an 8. Doesn't help the 5, 8. So this would have to be the 8 in here, because the 2 8s in box 5 are all the way up there, which means these 2 cells are not 8. These 2 cells have to be an 8. That's not an 8, that's an 8. So we placed 1, 2, 3, and 9. We also have a definite 4. So in here is a 5, 6 with a 7. That's kind of what we have with a definite 7, I should say. Okay, maybe I should be, doing a bit more Sudoku. 1, for example, has to be in here because in box 7, it's in none of these cells because of this 1. Means that the 1 is not part of that 1, 9. It's in here. Doesn't help me with my 1, 6. It can actually be this cell. Okay. 3. Not sure. Sorry, I'm pausing again. 8, Sleuth, pay attention, that's 7. We said this has to add up to 21 with a 9. Now that we've got the 7, so we needed, is it 7 and 5 to get to 12? Yes, plus the 9. So no 4s. This is a 5, 9 pair. No 5s in here, or 7s. That's a 4, 8 pair. This is from 1, 2, 3. This is 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. Better. Are any of these bouncing? Yes, they are. That's 4. That's 8. That 4 isn't exactly helpful. No, neither is that 7 for that matter. What about at the top? Is it helping? Yes, that's a 5. That's a 4 because of this 4. Is it continuing to help you out? That 5 gives me a 9 and a 5. Doesn't help me with my 2, 3, 8, 9 kind of dilemma necessarily, does it? Yes, 8 is gone from this cell, so there are 3. This is a 2, 9 pair now. That's the 3. That 5 gives me a 9. which gives me a 5. That 5 gives me a 4 in here, which removes the 4 from there. That ends up being a 5, 6, 7 triplet. We'll figure out what that means in a moment. This is now 6, 7, 8. 8, you can see, is not this cell or that cell. This is forced. That's an 8. 7 now is not that cell. That's 7. That's 6. That 7 gives me 6 and 7. Lovely. 2 and 9, nothing yet. How can I resolve these? Yeah, that 6 has now given me, don't know how long ago that 6 was there, but it doesn't matter. Which makes this a 2 and a 1. The 3 and 9, they're also resolved. 3, 9, and the 6, 7 are also resolved. 6, 7, because of this 7. The 2 and 9 are also resolved because of this 9. That's 2, that's 9. I think we're off to a pretty good start. Can I do much with this? I don't think I can. Can I do much with these? Probably. Let me just think. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is neither of these cells. That's 4. 1 is not here. 1 is not there. That's 1. This is not a 2. That's a 3. That's a 2. That's done. It doesn't allow me to resolve these, though, with 1, 2, 3. Actually, it does. 2, 3. That's a 1. That's a 2, 3 pair. We're not going to resolve it beyond that at the moment. Right. Sorry, one moment, please. Right, sorry about that. Where we live, unfortunately, we end up with people parking in our parking bay all the time, which I find really strange. I don't know why anyone thinks it's okay to be parking in someone's home parking bay. But it's a constant challenge, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm just pencil marking what these are. I don't know if this is a good idea. What I should be doing is, rather than pencil marking like I'm doing, is just paying attention to what these quads are so I can actually make some more progress from here. In particular, for example, 1 and 6 are not in these 3 cells. That makes this 1 and 6. Because of the way that I've pencil marked the 1s, that makes that a 1, that makes that a 6. That's kind of the more useful approach here. 2 and 7 need to be somewhere in here. They could both be up there. It doesn't have to be here. 3, 4, and 8, which is what's needed by these 2 circles, none of them can be here. So this is 3, 4, 8. We know that the 8 is up here. We know that because the 3s are shared between these 2 circles, that's got to be a 3, that's got to be an 8, that's got to be the 2 and 7 to make sure that this quad doesn't break. That's got to be a 4. That satisfies the 4 for the 4, 9. Remember, there could be more than 1, so I could still have a 4 in here. So don't necessarily make an assumption. This cell we just know, we can just write it in 3. No 3's in here, there has to be a 3 in there. That's 2, that's 3. That is not a 1, clearly. Let's keep this going. What do we not have in here? So I can't have a 5, can't have a 9. So 9 is not in these 2 cells, it's got to be in here. The 5 is not in these 2 cells, it's got to be there. 8 has to be here. The 4, 9 is satisfied. With the 8 will be fine. The rest of this now is 1, 8, and 4. You can see that the 4 is not here, so that's the 1. And this is 4, 8. That 1 removes a 1 here, that's a 1. Have I got any other freebies? No. Okay. We've satisfied, like, if there is a way to color these circles, I would love it. So the 2, 7 is done, the 1, 6 is done, the 3, 8 is done, the 3, 4 is done, the 4, 9 is done, the 5, 8 is done. The 3, 7, the 7 has to be in here, because none of these can be 7. And the 9 has to be one of these 2 cells. And then we're basically down to Sudoku. Sorry about this. This cell we know it is a 2, which gives me a 7, gives me a 2. This is now 3, 9, and 6. I say now, it was always 3, 9, 6. That 6 is not here, which makes this the 9. This is now 3, 6 pair, and that 3 resolves it for us. That's 6, that's 3. 4, 8, can I resolve these? It'd be lovely if I can. That 9 is not here. That 5 is not there. That 8 gives me the 6 and 8. That 8. And that 8 bounces in and gives me 4 and 8. That 4 gives me 9, 5, and 4. Right, we're on the home stretch, sort of. Let's do the ones where we have numbers, kind of pairs of numbers, so it can just place digits, 3s, for example. That's 3. 6. That allows me to just write in some digits. That's got to be a 2, I think. 2 now. We've done 9s, we've done 6s, we've done 3s. Interesting. May need to pencil mark a bit more than I tend to like, but that's fine. This row, for example, we need 1, 8, and something else, and 7. Yeah, too many places where this could work. This is all of them. This is not 7 or 8, that's a 1. That is 7, 8 pair. Okay, what about this row now? We need 4, 5, and I could see the 5s are not these two cells. That's the 5. That's not the 4. That's the 4. That's the 7, which hopefully gives me 8 and 7. Like I said, we're very much on the home stretch now. I should be able to just write in some digits to complete this. I need a 5, which can only be in here. I need an 8, which can only be there. I need a 1 that can only be there. And a 4. 2 is in here. 3 is there. 5 is here. 6 is there. 7 is here. And if I've not made any mistakes, 9 for the finish. Lovely, lovely puzzle, full deck and missing a few cards. Another enjoyable one. Not entirely sure I agree with the 2-star difficulty rating. Felt highly approachable. Every next step was fairly obvious. I think I could see where you can lose a lot of time just chasing little killers that are not particularly useful. You know, for example, making sure you start with a 12, recognizing some of the interplay between kind of the double layered little killer. Anyhow, hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Bye bye for now.